GM, wake up, let's go. Web 2, Web 3, stay in the know. Action, Dabatola, Toki in the zone. Breaking down the latest, straight to your phone. From Web 2 shifts to Web the waves. News, deep dives, hot takes for days. Tech's evolving, the world's in spin. Markets move, let's lock it in. Genzio's here, no time to snooze. Tune in now, get the news. GM. Wake up, let's go. Web 2, Web 3, stay in the know. GM, start the show. GM, wake up, let's go. Web 2, stay in the know. GM, start the show. GM, let's go. Web 2, stay in the know. GM, start the show.
GM, what's going on, everyone? Thank you for joining us again. It is Wednesday, the 12th here, and Toki back up on the stream. I think we're going to have Action jump up on here maybe in a little bit, BS a little bit about what's going on today in the markets and a few other things, maybe ETH Denver. How are you doing?
It's been a little bit crazy, but I'm definitely preparing for ETH Denver a lot lately. That's been like the main thing that everyone's talking about. All the Genzio clients that are going, we've all been trying to transition and see where the teams need to go. Even yesterday, there were several different calls just on ETH Denver to make sure that we have everything lined up. So it's like all full steam ahead right there, man.
Yeah, for those that are watching that don't realize, Genzio is just huge, tons of clients, and basically running ETH Denver. All the media stages, live feeds. So there are so many aspects and so many people to deal with and moving parts and side events and media house and scheduling everything. So that week, it's coming up in a couple weeks. In a couple weeks we'll be in the thick of it.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be insane. I know we have, even right from the start, they have their build a week, and that's where it's like the hackathon, the build-a-thon, as they say. And people don't seem to understand ETH Denver is truly about building. Like, that's the one thing that they want people to come there to do. So when we start to see people arriving that week, expect them to be in that room the whole time. Like, until ETH Denver is over, there will be people in that room sleeping, eating. Like,
see, that's what I heard.
It's a different lifestyle there.
Yeah, I haven't been to ETH Denver before, but I heard that people basically post up are living out of the building 24/7, working out of there. So the focus is all on that. And and that's it starts on I guess it goes through the whole week technically.
Yes,
everything.
There is some like sprinkled events starting on like the 21st and then the 22nd. The main stuff's going to be like within that 23rd all the way to the 3rd. And technically afterwards, there is the Breckenridge retreat where everyone can kind of like go off to a ski resort in Colorado, in the prime time to go skiing. So it's quite the experience.
Are you going to take part in that? Are you doing the Breckenridge part?
I will not be doing the Breckenridge part. I'll actually be going home for a birthday I need to take care of. So I'm pretty excited for that, actually.
Yeah, I'm surprised though that everyone does do that, considering there's 10 days, essentially about 10 days of events, conferences, activities going on, and then to drive out and do that for another few days. I mean,
You
it's
have to remember,
a couple week
again,
commitment.
like there are those people that were just living in that room that whole entire time. So the Breckenridge retreat is the only time that they're actually letting it all out. So it's an interesting mishmash because you got the people who are showing up for the main event of ETH Denver, the festival, and that's when a lot of the other side events that are going on. But that's not like that's not what ETH Denver's main draw is. It's not like the one reason that they're there for. So the main things that they're tied to is definitely going to be the Breckenridge retreat in the end. Because I mean, who doesn't want to go to that realistically?
No, that is true. I think just for me, after 10 days, I'm going to be good. There's a lot on the schedule already, and more piling up each day. And then there's a couple great side events, as we know. Karate Combat's doing their event at the end of the week on the 28th, so that's going to be pretty awesome. See that in the IFC.
Actually, did you see who's back on the card again?
I didn't. Was there an update in the last couple days?
I saw Big Boy's coming back.
Who?
Big Boy.
Really?
Like he's gotten 2 sub 20-second KOs at this point.
Yeah.
Like
he just fought in was it Miami?
He was at
or
the
was it
last
Fort
one.
Lauderdale? Was it Miami then? All right.
Yeah. So and he took out I think he was
it's like the fastest knockouts and takeouts for all of it.
They just walked in and just took the guy down. It was crazy.
Well, then that'll be a good one. And that's just in a couple of weeks. So I'm sure that the full card will be released soon. And anyone who's going to be going out to that should go grab a ticket and pick that out. It's always a good time. But yeah, and then I guess sort of tied into all this as well is HederaCon is going on too. So there's all the speakers, everyone associated with Hedera and all their projects there. Obviously, they're the huge, big main sponsor of Karate Combat. So it goes hand in hand. You'll have HederaCon, you'll have all of those people there, speakers coming over to Karate Combat, and and then just the sheer amount of people there for ETH Denver too. So I think it's just going to be a pretty crazy week. And hopefully, to be honest, when we get towards that last week of the month, the market overall is a bit better. And I'll transition to this a little bit because let's see, I guess I could just pull up this, even though it doesn't show all that much. It's just my let's add to the stage. Let's do it like this. So as far as Bitcoin on the hourly here, with the CPI information or being a little bit above this morning, initially saw a candle down. Market, I guess, maybe didn't react so great, but look at this. Bitcoin actually higher than last night than when we woke up, especially too. But even above that, like look at markets down a little bit, and you can see all the headlines here on CNBC are reflecting that. But initial candle for Bitcoin down, but now pop back up. So I don't know. I've been saying and thinking that it's going to be kind of choppy like this and sideways for a couple more weeks. I think we almost have to get out of February, but I would love to see the last week really things start trending that way. See some altcoins maybe start to move. I think everyone's been a little bit bummed at how things have been over the last week. I don't know.
I mean, when you start to hear some like the massive news around tariffs, it definitely doesn't help the market. That's not what people want to think about when they're trying to build products or get them tried in different countries, or definitely not when you're thinking about shipping on a larger scale. It can be scary just thinking about trying to ship from a different country right now. And then just our allies, North and South, like Canada and Mexico, with the tariffs that we're looking at placing on them. It sounded like Canada said they want to put 100% tariff on Tesla if we follow through. So there's some interesting stuff where they're being very pointed with their remarks. So
yeah, it's it's basically like if you're gonna tax us, then we got to do something back. I would think essentially it just becomes a negotiation tactic. Instead of rolling over and saying, all right, we're going to get hit with whatever it was, 25% or more. You do that, and then maybe there's some sort of lesser. But we've talked about this just recently. Those tariffs, either way, it's not beneficial when it comes down to like you or me or anybody buying a product.
Mhm.
At the end of the day, this drives inflation up, and it's not, I think I guess it's what, I don't want to get too political, but it ends up being like the America first, and you want to make sure that people are paying their dues or whatever. But in the current state of the economy and the way things are, sometimes if you push a little too hard in one direction, it tends to bite you in the ass a little bit. So I will give new administration credit that they're trying to make moves or start conversations that could hopefully lead to a better economy. Obviously, a lot of pro-crypto people becoming in place with every administration. I'm sure we all have our worries with different things, but as far as our crypto and markets, I know we want to see those go up. And yeah, I couldn't imagine. Could you imagine if they actually taxed Tesla that?
Yeah, I could totally imagine that. I mean, Canada will send you to jail for saying the wrong gender. So
has it really gotten that?
There was a father who got sent to jail for misgendering his own daughter. So his wife went and took him to court, and he went to jail. And now he's serving quite a sentence. And he's very. I mean, honestly, I'd be very confused if someone was like, "You can't call your daughter a daughter," and I'd just be like, "I'm so confused on what that means at first." But hey, like, to each their own on that scale as well. It's just, I do feel bad that sometimes some older generations are never going to understand, and so, man, it's a confusing conversation right from the start.
No, look, even outside of older generations, it's just a confusing. I don't want to say confusing. I don't even want to you got to be careful like what you say. It's an interesting conversation because there's so many different points that people could say on every side of this, that both sides could kind of agree on a lot of them, so we'll see how markets, countries, things react to these things and what ends up happening. I did find it interesting though when I pulled this up that we were at 46. I guess it really hasn't been moving too much, but I guess a little bit leaning to that fear.
Yeah.
But I mean, look at it, Bitcoin, it's 97 right now. It's on a nice green candle. So I'm not too, here's the thing. I think everyone who watches, who tunes in, who's in this for the long haul has conviction. They know the way the cycles have been going, and strictly with institutional buying, ETFs, countries coming in, states with Bitcoin reserves. There are so many positive reasons why Bitcoin will steady go up, and that we'll probably look back in so many years and be like, oh, 97, 100,000, that was a steal. And, so on days where it dips, I know people DCA in. I also do try to top up my bags. I will say, even on some of the altcoin news, seeing Solana under 200 in my mind is always a good pickup. I think there's so many degens out there using Solana meme coins, plus all the legit projects, that we will see Solana do extremely well. I mean, it already almost went up to 300 when you had volume hitting Trump's token for a couple days. When alts and we get to altcoin season and things go parabolic, there'll be volume like that probably across multiple tokens, or more volume with lots of tokens. And that's where you see Solana could really take off.
And that's what I love, because for me right now, and I know I've mentioned this to you before, but so one of our companies we've been working with is this company called Zandium, and they got me hooked on liquid staking for Solana. because
Interesting.
I'm not necessarily worried about whether or not I need to pull it out immediately. I'm not worried about, let's just say, a certain exchange holding onto your funds and delaying the transaction for more than 2 days.
Yeah.
More than 2 days it took me to get my own Solana. That was insane.
That's like 2 days of just like being paranoid and worrying. Because you just
Because of how
never
much
know what could
money I
happen.
just sent, and I have no idea what's happening to it. And Coinbase, they won't tell me anything about it.
Yeah, especially during, that sort of volume times and networks congested or down or things are suspended. Everyone's hitting up customer support, but they're not saying anything. It's just easier for them to ride it out, I guess, for the couple days possibly. But seeing that this early, I don't know. It kind of gets you worried about when things get going and how some of these exchanges have they been really battle tested.
And
Each cycle proves,
not.
yeah. Each cycle they push it a little bit more to the limits, and I think
What
Solana
else
just
it does?
recently got tested, and I think that there's way more volume to come.
I think it also pushes the questions about solvency. Like, how much do these companies really have stored away to make sure that they can do all these transactions? Do they have the reserves in place to actually be keeping up with everything that's going on? At times, I'm not completely convinced. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
like
say
if there
that.
was a bank rush, like to one of these exchanges to pull out their Bitcoin that might be sitting on there, will they have enough to cover it? I think that there's a lot of exchanges that fall short on many tokens. I think there's ones that even list it with not necessarily having the assets, and some of these exchanges don't have deposits or withdrawals open, but yet you could buy it and keep it on their exchange in their wallet. There's a lot of factors that go into that, and when you see when I saw that with one token in particular, I was like, why would I ever? I mean, I guess if you're like a spot trading it almost, but I mean, I think it was just so that they could say it was listed. But you're right. There was, I don't want to mention the exchange offhand because I don't know the full details. They had posted about it, but there was something that happened where, because what happened with the market and going down, that funds were being used in the wrong way. Something else had happened that triggered people to want to get funds, and then they had to like stop everything. Over leveraging.
Never a good scene.
But the thing that puzzles me with this, and let's see, and I want your take is, all right, you have these exchanges, and they have all the control, right? They're holding your money when you're trying to even put it through there to off ramp, to swap it out, or whatever it might be. They have all the control here. And this is some of our only options. There are some off ramping cards and whatnot. I'm just trying to figure out that you're right with the supplies, that how do they maintain this? Where's the checks and balances? Is this where regulation is going to come in and have to make sure that they prove things? And I don't know. There's lots of gray area here. So, and exchanges shouldn't be using funds for anything other than operating their exchange. They should make enough off of volume. If they're not, then they need to attract more people to their exchange to use it.
I think there's also something we said, if, again, as you stated, maybe they don't have the reserves in the first place and they listed the token or coin or whatever it may be. And so it's trading on there. So they're not actually getting a piece of the action when it comes to the volume. I think they could be just potentially losing out on some of these things because they just wanted users on there in the first place. And that could be a killer for some of these smaller exchanges because they don't actually have the stuff to back it up. Now, on the flip side, there are some exchanges that are working on the provable narrative, meaning that they have everything provable because of solvency, like transparency because of solvency. It's really cool to hear that type of narrative being pushed to the forefront. I know that Hibachi is one of those where you can actually go on there and it's a provable exchange. So they have everything and you can see the whole.
Was it by like audit and you could see what they're actually holding versus what?
So you can actually you can talk to them as well, which is great. Like their team's been so open about like how things are progressing versus like some of the other exchanges where they're just like,
so wait a minute,
we don't know what you're talking
about. support in crypto. Support in crypto exists on some platforms.
It's crazy, but yes, it does.
No, I think that's a real lacking factor in these exchanges. And look, everyone will complain about fiat and banks and whatnot, but you can go to your bank, you could call, you could get a new card issued. There's a whole, I'll just call it like a retail front, a whole infrastructure built just on that, which decentralization is the complete opposite of that. So, there's give and take with each side. And when you have, exchanges, you need something in place and you need more transparency with it. And, I don't know. We're going to see what happens when markets heat up, I feel.
I'm excited for it.
No, I am. I test the system, but as long as you can get some stuff into stables or even into Bitcoin, because for me, I believe in Bitcoin in the long run. So even if I was moving stuff around, I couldn't off ramp and I still was in Bitcoin. I don't mind, holding. I know the way these things go. And as far as anything, Bitcoin leads the charge, institutional adoption and everything that's coming. Retail, I feel, hasn't even started to ape in. But we'll see. They should. I
feel like retail has, to some degree, started to ape it. I mean, who was it that just bought? What was it, like 400K Ethereum yesterday or something like that? Like it was like.
Is that retail? I guess it. I mean,
was it just like away from the retail market? Like,
was it just a random person you're saying that just bought?
No, it was a company that actually went and.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of cool to see. I've also seen like a bunch of news on the XRP ETFs. People getting really excited about them, especially what was it, XRP?
XRP is interesting because people either love it or hate it. And I know people who hold it have been waiting a long time to see prices pumping up. And I mean, they're at 244 right now. So much better. It's like a 5 or 6x from what it was for such a long time. Came to a shock for everyone. Now, this actually brings up a topic because isn't the CEO of Ripple supposedly lobbying a little bit against strategic Bitcoin reserves to essentially want to get XRP in the mix and Ripple tied in? So
see, I don't.
I heard
seen a bunch of
both
different
sides
things because I also just saw an article potentially linking Brad Garlinghouse of Ripple to the funds that went in towards launching the Trump token on Solana.
What?
So yeah, no, I've seen a bunch of crazy stuff as far as like interviews and stuff. So I don't know what's real and what's not.
See, that you'll have to link me because I'm interested in that, because there's the side that, wants other things in a reserve besides Bitcoin, obviously pushing for XRP, Ripple to be involved. There's also some talks of him possibly, I don't want to say being an advisor or getting involved with the administration, I guess, essentially for crypto advising or so. When you have certain people, I mean, look, regardless of what his message is, he's a figurehead. These people are running exchanges, running companies like XRP. When they're in the ear of the administration who is not as crypto savvy, and these are the leaders, they're going to tend to lean towards probably what they're saying. So I think that's what puts a lot of people at,
Well, I
want to make sure the agenda is good for everyone.
I think there should be some distinctions though, because no one's really running XRP versus like Ripple itself, the
Mhm.
company is like very separated. They have their own thing going on. They have their RUSD or RP. I feel like we had this issue the other day. But they have their their Ripple, a stable coin and everything going on there. So that's more of their mission that I've seen a lot going on, and also trying to onboard people like en masse. The globalized mission of trying to get larger and larger groups of non-native people to crypto to join up. That's what I've seen a lot of, and the focus. So it'll be interesting to see how these larger players, such as Ripple or the Hedera Foundation or the Ethereum Foundation or Solana Foundation, and how they want to continue to pull in groups. I think that's where we're going to see some interesting plays, and I don't think it needs to be like I don't think we ever need to see a company forced into trying to use blockchain again when they don't understand it yet. Good situation that I can kind of think about is maybe like, was it Starbucks on Solana or something along those lines? Where like nothing really happened, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we have something on Solana," and you're like, "Okay, what? How does it work?" And they're like, "Oh, hold on, let me go talk to some guys about that."
There needs to be a whole community ecosystem. It's a whole nother leg of the business, like revenue stream, a whole operation. When you actually go that. And I think, weren't we talking about this recently too? Like, even though you can, for example, tokenize everything, do you? Like,
yeah.
Like, is it just going to be, almost feel like if you go to do it on everything, it's almost like people use it more sense to crowdfund in a sense, like anything. You don't have to do anything, but you're right. Like, tying some of these in overkill doesn't make sense. I don't even know how I missed the Starbucks. Probably just because when I think of going to a coffee place, I'm like, Timmy Hortons, but they just only have one that just opened here. So
You have a Tim Hortons?
Yeah, they just opened one here in Texas. Yeah.
Man, they escaped all the way from Canada to there. Congratulations.
I know, right? That's what I'm like. I couldn't believe it. But
I actually quite like Tim Hortons. So
What?
I actually quite like Tim Hortons.
Well, yeah, so now we have oh no, but I mean, just like overall in markets today, look, I actually see a little, it's so funny because some of the stuff's deceiving when you see green, like in the 24-hour, it's like, is it really, really green? But no, like I said, I think markets are just sideways for a little bit longer. I do like seeing how Bitcoin's already still pushing up 97.5. I'm going to go back to CNBC. It's on my screen. I'm just going to see if markets, they're a little bit closer. They're only down 161 on the, but
Nothing too
yeah, it didn't do much, to be honest. I'll spook the market for a second and then business as usual. And this tends to be most of the news that happens. I mean, just short volatility, balances out. But we don't have anything that I see coming up clearly that could really project the price, like that could push us back up to a closer all-time, an all-time high for Bitcoin. I mean, this week alone, we have what? So we had CPI. I think tomorrow, or maybe even be leaked today, like what, PPI information. So producer side of things. We're going to have end of the week, Friday, retail sales data. And then we also have this week at least 20% of S&P 500 companies reports for their earnings. So there's just definitely sentiment in the market that could come out that could, for this time of year, I don't know. I think we still need a little more time before a big push up.
So I'll ask you this then, because we did see some recent changes in the market surrounding DeepSeek. The AI. I know that's played kind of a major role in what's happened. And honestly, even in my conversation with D Fusion last night, they're an AI company, and they're focusing on getting genuine data, like real factual data that they can use and put into their system, and then they can help determine like how true or how false is the true or false statement that you're putting out there. And so it's been for all of it, anything, absolutely anything.
For any AI. So basically looking to detect if it's real or not.
Yes.
Like
so it's
flag it like, oh, this has been created with AI, or
no, in the
this is
sense
digitally
of
altered
like
like that.
in the sense of like Donald Trump is bad. It will be able to tell you based on current sentiments and information that it's received whether or not it comes up on like it's 46% bad and 54% good. And so it starts to delineate, and as it receives more information, and it was like, well, Donald Trump has suddenly done something crazy, massively bad for whatever reason. And so it'll weigh heavier on that. And maybe it'll be like, okay, well, now instead of being 46, it's now to 60% bad because more people believe in the facts surrounding that of someone that does a bad thing. Now it can actually supplant that data. Or let's say Donald Trump does something amazing and he finds out that a company has the cure for cancer, and he basically tells that company they have to release it to the world. And they're a United States company. That would be crazy, and that would be amazing. And so now instead of it going down, maybe his 54% goes up to like 80% on the good. And so anyone that's putting in or asking is Donald Trump bad or good, they're going to get to 80%
So is it
answer of people believing he's good.
It's sort of like a social score, but based off of
like genuine
everything.
Data.
Yeah.
And
Based
all
off of
types
actual
of data.
And then actually part of that would have to be determining, because now with all the AI and stuff out there, whether the data that it's scrubbing is actually factual data to be included in that assessment. And
so, yeah, there are the data nerds that kind of need to take the time to put in all the data that's good first, so it can make sure that it's receiving good data consistently.
But this is across the board what you're saying for AI models and doing it. But you had initially mentioned DeepSeek, and I was like going to be like, oh wow, I haven't heard. I might have read it, but I haven't heard anybody mention it to me since I think the end of last week. And I think with all the quick popularity, we know that there's a bunch of cards they shouldn't have had access to. I think it's a little bit deeper of a story than what's presented. Like, hey, look what we did in this. But the information, essentially, I heard you could like tap the APIs and get public information. Like if I search something and put some personal details in there, it's out there. And then from that, the next few days, I saw numerous articles and posts about organizations not allowing the use of it. Obviously, anything that could be considered sensitive, military, government, anything, just because they don't know. It's not been vetted. I'll call it hasn't been audited. You don't know where the info is. Some of the info they found was already, essentially, if you know what you're doing, you can find it publicly. So I think that put a little like thorn in their side. And now I haven't heard as much.
So on the technical side of things, we saw the market take a massive hit. And that was because everyone was something like, this company is stating that they can make this type of AI model for significantly less money because it would take less time to do it. And just the whole entire process as a whole would just be significantly less. And to a degree, if that's true and how they proceeded about it, that's actually great for all of AI. Because that means that you can use some of these other models as base models and continue to build off of them and use them to train. And that would significantly reduce the costs to these smaller companies.
Well, I think you'll see a lot
of the fact that this was also put out as open source, that's massive, because now maybe someone who really does know what they're doing can go in and fool around and play with it. But on the other side, and again, this was another thing that we brought up during the space, if you ask certain questions of DeepSync right now about like what happened to the protester in Tiananmen Square, it's going to be like, I don't really know about anything about that right now. Well, let's talk about someone else. or if you start asking anything about bigger operations in that country, you're going to suddenly not get any information. And it's very interesting because if you were to do the same in regards to, let's say, the US or the UK or most Western countries, it will absolutely give you as much information as possible, down to who done it.
Got a little censorship in the model.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
But I think the thing I like about a lot of the AI and the modeling or the open source is that organizations, bigger organizations, research organizations, could use some of these like in a closed setting, feed it just the data that you want from your stuff and be secure. Like it's basically like, cold storage, like having your keys off completely. Like you got this code, you bring it into here, you load it with your stuff. It helps you become more efficient, maybe helps you code in the languages that you're doing, whatever it could be. And then actually a tool that everyone company-wide could use. The greater scare with the information being available, even with all these things, it's scary how well you could put information into a lot of them and even say, write it like based off of stuff I post on my Twitter profile or my Facebook, this or whatever. And you just give it the link and then it becomes you. It's like the same wording and emojis and different things. And
Grok does a pretty good job for people. I'm not gonna lie. I know several different content creators where they've been able to be like, hey, based on the content that I've created during this time period, I'd like to create a series of posts, 1 to 2 each day, and then I want to have these on a set schedule. When should I post them? And then Grok will just be like, hey, here's what you usually do. Here's some stuff you could probably post. It's generic enough to be considered new content without it being too much recycled content. Here's the time schedule you should be putting on based on like how many likes you get and which times have performed the best for you. And here's some of the emojis that you've used in the past, and these are the ones that perform the best on these posts. Like there's so much.
It's crazy. And I believe the brain power behind Grok is in Austin. And I've seen some of those photos of the data center. It's ridiculous. It's just like,
but
it is insane.
There comes another play when it comes down to it all, because you have everything that's going on with X and just honestly anything Elon related. He's now building his own centers, his own data centers, and then you have like Amazon, who's also building their own centers, and both of them are now turning towards nuclear power in order to power their data centers. And then you also see crazy RWA projects where there's like tokenized uranium, and you're like, holy crap, you can literally get in from like start to finish on anything that these guys are doing.
Buy the uranium now and let them build their centers with nuke power to power it and watch it go up.
Yeah.
It's the Elon conversation and everything he does is one of those rabbit hole conversations as well, because there's lots of great things going on. But when somebody's involved in too much or pushing too many different things, that's where like, certain companies get into like, are they monopolies? Are there, like who's actually making decisions and running things? And, there's just lots of big things that he's tied to, auto industry, space explorations, the rockets, just X as a media platform, and who knows what's to come with that, whether there's payments in there. And, I'm sure that's coming at some point. Like you're essentially going to become he wants it to be like your one-stop shop app in a sense, like, and keeps building that way. It's going to be an interesting few years to come. And we'll see how this bromance continues between Elon and Trump, and hopefully they could stay buddies and friends and both feel like they're getting enough attention, and lots of cool things get done, and hopefully that results in the crypto markets doing better. I mean, just some more clarity on a few things could help. I don't know how meme coins are just going to affect the rest of the cycle. It's really a big curveball. I've been thinking they suck a lot of liquidity out of stuff quick.
They do. So there is a lot of market dilution, all due to meme coins, a new blockchain starting, people just trying something for the fun of it. Like there's so much dilution of where funds could start leading out towards. So it's a little bit hectic to try and keep up with every single little piece. But I think it also gives us time to reflect on like who are the top movers, who lasted, who are tried and true, and then start genuinely comparing them against each other. Like why did Swede do so well? And then you can go back and look, and everything that's happened since like Korea Blockchain Week of last year, like they have just killed it. Like they had their stage there, and they brought their presence, and they started nailing partnerships. And
they had a whole blockchain week in Paris as well. It was big.
Yeah,
lots of gaming projects, lots of I see big things coming this cycle, and right now it was over 5. It's like 339. So still, it's like people are saying that's like going to be like the next Solana.
And it's hard not to agree. Like
everyone's looking at Solana and eventually flipping ETH, and then they're like, oh, maybe going into this next cycle after this, if we have one that Sui does that to Solana.
So I mean, like for the people that, again, it always helps to be early. If you're able to just set aside 100 tokens, because like realistically, like that's what, a $340 investment. Let's say it does do what Solana did, and that $340 investment turns into each one of them being worth 200 to 300. Okay. And now you're like, oh,
people get desensitized.
100 times 200 is pretty nice.
No, it's extremely nice, but people in crypto get very desensitized from seeing crypto Twitter and YouTube and these big P&Ls that people are posting, and they're not showing their losses. And, I turned 1 SOL into 10 just in 2 minutes. And you know what I mean? There's a lot of, the numbers to everyone are a lot, like, oh my God, they have to do this. Like people round trip stuff all the time. And it's because of that. It's like, if you put in $500 and it's worth $25,000, like, how come you did not pull out a bunch of stuff? Like, yes, there's the possibility that it rips. There's the possibility you go to the bathroom and it's dead. Like by the time you come back. So everyone gets desensitized, sort of like market cap numbers, like 100 million, 1 billion, 100 billion. It's like, you got to look at what you put in, what you're comfortable with essentially losing.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's $100 and you put it into a play and you get a 5x pretty quick, take your $100 out. Maybe take another 100 out. Leave half of that's left as a moon bag, and have 2 more plays that you could go in that you see coming up and diversify out. I mean, so it's going to be really crazy to see, and I'm kind of curious. Like there's lots of friends of mine, and I'll probably round trip a couple things too, just not catching them. Luckily, there's a lot of people I know that are always sort of like keeping everyone updated on these things, but no, eventually we'll have a good cycle here. And the main thing is to, get your initial out, take some profits, have your moon back, obviously not financial advice, but as opposed to just going and getting all wrapped up in the, oh my God, it's going up. As quick as that happens, even quicker, you could see that huge red candle.
Oh, sometimes those are a scary, scary sight.
Yeah, it's those low market cap. I mean, even some of these bigger ones. I don't even want to look at what, even Trump tokens at. I mean, because that was just crazy. It's probably, I would hope it's still in the billions, but are you pulling it up?
I am pulling it up because now I gotta know.
Now we're gonna go and see what this is. Oh, is it 3 billion? Is that an official Trump? Yeah, I think it's 3 billion. Let's see if this is it. Let's do. This is over the 1 month since it launched. Essentially, it's at its lowest it's been in. Yeah. Lowest it's been since on the upward candle when it was launched. Curious what happens with these. See, I think I said this before. I view something like, God, I hate saying this, but I view it as like those like coins I used to see when I was up at like 3 a.m. Like, come get your commemorative gold coin in a case, and it has a little booklet that folds out, and it's got a picture and like a stamped signature from your president or whatever like that. It's only $49.99. Like, I see if there is some way to combine that novelty support aspect to that token as a benefit, like, you're part of this or that. I don't know. They send you a commemorative NFT. I don't know. I don't want to brainstorm for them, but you see what I'm saying? Outside of just a quote unquote meme token that now is falling down and is slowly trending lower. Because can he now, as president, go out there and shill the hell out of it? I don't think so. He retweeted it a few times up until he got inaugurated. I don't know if he straight up has said anything in the last few days from his account, like, yo, what's up, everyone? Like, you should be holding Trump coin. Big things coming. Like, he didn't say, there's been no.
I don't think he's allowed to.
Yeah, so what do you do? It's still 3 billion.
It's a bleeding 3 billion though.
Yeah, but there's great projects. I know great projects that are like under 500 million that should be valued at like 5-10 billion. That should be just.
You're right.
So when you see that's the only thing that's a little bit disheartening about the meme coins and the low market cap situation is I know of so many great projects, teams, big teams from all over working, having clients, having real business models, like really, really grinding. And right now at like a 200 market cap, 400 million market cap, when they should be inching their way up in the billions. Now, maybe when we get a proper altcoin season, we see them 5 and 10x and actually get those. But you see a meme coin that just on some hype goes from nothing to billions, and kind of scratch your head. It's like you're a project that's grinding out every day. It's like, do you hire somebody to put out memes on your Twitter just so that you could, not meme coins, but just you hire a social media meme manager to attract more people to buy your token more as novelty than for utility? Like, it's the Twilight Zone.
Media.
It's the Twilight Zone. People are just, they're playing the casino, and I get it. People go to casinos all the time.
But it's like a PvP Twilight Zone, though.
Yeah, I mean, it did take the PvP off of, I feel, legit projects. I think people are accumulating on the lows on these alts, and when tides turn, they'll be rewarded for that. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I'm a degen, but I have a traditional portfolio with all my stuff in it. And then there's a little bit over here that it's just like, all right, let's gamble a little bit. Let's pass the time this past year. That's been kind of boring. But I have high hopes. Look, this month, it's only 12 days in. It started off amazing. I have to say, between yourself, Action, Dennis, others at Genzio, coming up to Seattle. I was hanging out, going to come out to ETH Denver, help out. Really, really stoked. There's lots of cool things in the mix. We're starting this off, and this is very casual, this stream a few days a week. For anyone who's tuned in and watching, we're going to be fine-tuning this and really get some news and some Q&A and, really build this up so that each morning, if you want to stop in and get a quick overview or ask something, we'll be here to provide some value. In return, we would love for you to subscribe, hit follow, retweet the space for others that might want to watch it later. And this is it's been a great 12 days. And even though the market's kind of, like I said, choppy right now, I think this month is going to be awesome. I think we're going to end with ETH Denver, HederaCon, Karate Combat, a whole series of great events. Excited to be rolling around with you, with action, with everyone, just taking over Denver and making moves.
By storm.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. So I'm really excited. I mean, look at wow, we're even coming up close to an hour already. I don't even know. We've just been chit-chatting a little bit. But anything on your mind? You got any closing remarks? Anything?
I guess I am truly excited about what's coming for the end of the month. I know the current market has been bearish to a degree, but ETH Denver always has so many people so bullish. And every time that people even start to get excited about it, you see everyone that the posts have already started. They're nonstop. Everyone's pulling out the pictures from last year, the Bufficorn, all the different stuff. And this year it's the year of the regenerate. And now it's even a little bit crazier. There's new outfits, new gear, new everything that's coming out, new lore.
Well, I also think between last year and this year, everyone's going, well, we're going into a bull run. So everyone started ramping up and building. And although maybe some of the prices of tokens haven't just reflected it, say today, everyone's been building hard and ramping things up for the last 12 months.
No, that's
in anticipation for this.
That's a big thing. Now, you have to remember, ETH Denver's been going for, 7 to 8 years now at this point, maybe even longer.
Yeah.
This is the year where they've had the largest amount of speaker requests ever.
Wow.
Ever. And I believe they've already gone through almost half of their ticket allocation already for people that the free tickets. I think it's already halfway through the allocation. It's insane the number of people that are interested in going to ETH Denver right now. And
I'm pulling this up because where are we at?
Yeah. And it's gorgeous.
Request to speak.
So the best part is they really do give you everything here. So the content schedule gives you who's speaking when, who the speakers are. They're still adding to it right now because they're going through this amazing curation
Good
process.
filter.
Oh, yeah.
Am I just blind? Should I just scroll down to the actual speakers for this? Where were they? Oh, wow. There's a lot of sponsors and everybody involved.
There's a lot of different parts and pieces for what's going on. Actually, right there, the Book Your Stay in Denver, there's a crew fare link. So it's actually a discounted link for staying in the area. Yeah.
Nice.
Which has been pretty awesome for not only our clients to get them that, but also for just some of the people that we've helped invite along to ETH Denver. And then,
this is crazy. There's I'm excited. Like I said, I haven't been. I think between a couple conferences, it has something for everyone.
It really does. Not only this, there's the side events. There's the Luma. If you haven't seen it yet and you want to see the Luma for what's going on during ETH Denver, hit up Genzio. We'll be able to help you out for sure.
Yeah, make sure you go over to ethdenver.com, go through this, check it out. Still time to grab a ticket, but as you can see right here, Genzio's partner. So feel free, drop a comment, shoot a message over. We can get you some info as well.
Absolutely.
But I guess with that, maybe we will wrap things up a bit here for the day.
Sure. Sounds like a good deal.
I know we both got a lot of work to do this afternoon because these events are coming up quicker and quicker. You know, you go to
Yeah.
sleep and then it seems like you go to sleep for one night and you're like, wait a minute, how did 5 days go by and I'm that much closer to the event? So
I'll be honest, every day I wake up and I'm like, okay, how many of my messages are just related to ETH Denver? And it's about like 45, 55% of my messages right now. And as each day has been going by, that number is just creeping up. It's insane. Some of them is like my Slack is getting hit with it, my Telegram's getting hit with it, my email's getting hit with it. My just every single group chat that we have has something about ETH Denver in it right now, and it's
oh no, yeah, the couple that I got pulled into, I saw a bunch of ETH Denver stuff in there, and then you usually are tagged for it. So, but well, it's going to be awesome. I suggest everybody, go to Genzio's site, go follow, retweet, check out ETH Denver. It's coming up in a couple weeks, and we'll probably see how things go. But maybe we'll be streaming on Friday again. But if not, definitely on Monday at 9 Pacific. Feel free to leave any comments or questions, and we will we can bring them up on stream and answer. And maybe Action will join in because he's been in the background a bit, and I know he's hustling and doing his work. He wanted to make a little bit of appearance, but we'll just plug Action there because he's always hustling and working. So yeah, I guess that's a wrap for today. Should we play the music on the way out again?
Go for it.
Let me see how to do this, because where is it added? Ooh, is this it? Let's see.
GM, wake up, let's go. Web 2, Web 3, stay in the know. Action, Dabatola, Toki in the zone. Breaking down the latest, straight to your phone. From Web 2 shifts to Web the waves. News, deep dives, hot takes for days. Tech's evolving, the world's in spin. Markets move, let's lock it in. Genzio's here, no time to snooze. Tune in now, get the news. GM. Wake up, let's go. Web 2, Web 3,